Should get an email.
Is that it?
I think so. Can you run and grab me a water?
Oh, TBT's doing a live chat tonight too.
Jackasses.
At 7:30.
What punks? I think so. Can you run and grab me a water?
How bad you get? No yelling.
Should get an email.
Killer. I don't know, but I can't figure it out like that. Just put it on there and let's be quiet.
I did put it on. But we talk about like teachers pay teachers. Oh, I'm out of focus. Wait until this thing gets me in focus. I'm still not in focus. Hi guys. Hold on, I'm waiting for this camera to focus me. Focus on my face. Can't get it to focus. What's going on? Is that we just don't have enough light? Hey guys, give me just one. Okay, here I am. A little bit of a bumpy start. Hello everyone and welcome to the live chat. I hope you are all doing well. Leslie, hello. Angela, hello. Christine, how are you guys doing? How's your week? Thank you for joining in. Welcome, welcome. Tell me something fun that's happened or something funny that's happened this week for you. Or just how your week is going overall, because I feel my week has been very, very busy, stressful, busy, and it's been something that I feel like I've been all over the place this week. I don't know. Maybe it's just my week. Hi guys, happy Wednesday. Hello everyone. Hello from Guatemala. Hello, how are ya? From Texas. Hello, how are you? That is where I was born and raised, Houston, Texas. Sea Turtle, it's going good. I'm glad to hear that it's going well. Everybody is doing great. Okay, so for today's live chat, I'm going to not do a presentation today. In fact, I decided to do something a little bit different and share with you some reading activities. I feel like my computer is going to take off because it's making a lot of noise. Do you guys hear that noise that my computer is making, or is it, I don't know, is that just me that hears that? I'm hoping that it's just me. You found a box turtle in the parking lot. Students named it after a student. Oh, that's really kind of sweet. I mean, to be honest, but that's a cool find. Those are always exciting. Roxanne says it's been a busy but fun week. Using setting and character to writing ideas. Very nice. I'm glad that it's been successful for you and you're seeing how the strategies can really help you overall. So you do hear the airplane. That's my husband. It's Trent. Say hi to Trent, everyone. Kind of, sort of. All right, so it's not horrible. It just sounds like it's about to take off. We're going to pretend like we're on an airplane, guys. That's all we're going to do. We're going to use our imagination. Hello from Iceland. Very nice. Angela, you're sitting at home this week. Huh. All right. So recess duty in the snow. Is it already snowing in Wyoming? Where are you at in Wyoming? Is that close to Laramie? Because we have family in Laramie, so I'm very curious. Is that pretty close to there? Put that in the comment. Let me know. Great week. It's not been bad. That's kind of how I've been feeling, Roxanne. It hasn't been a bad week. Overall, it hasn't been the best week ever, but it hasn't been bad. Okay, so like I was saying, guys, I'm going to do something a little bit different this week, just because I didn't have, with me having a busy week, didn't have a ton of time putting a presentation together for you all, but I was going through some different activities that I utilize for my reading small groups to try to help make it a little bit more engaging. And I wanted to share some of those activities with all of you because they're really easy to make and they're also just overall, they're fun, they're engaging, and you can also check for comprehension, you can check for understanding, vocabulary, so many different possibilities here. And there are other ways that you can utilize this throughout the year. So I'm going to share, I think I have 5 different ones. My dog is all over the place. He's in the zoomies. How many of you guys have dogs? They tend to be in the zoomies and they go wild at certain times at night. I feel like he's in one of those times. So I have about 5 activities that I want to share with you all. And oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. So here's one of the things that I'm going to share with you. And just for you all for joining me, taking away from some of your Wednesday. I know you're tired. I know you have just been having a week. You're ready for the weekend to kind of get here. And I appreciate you all who come and join me on Wednesday nights. So what I want to do is I have a coupon code and it is live1023. 1023. That's today's date, 10/23. you're going to receive one of the activities that I do for absolutely free. You can also go and grab the 2019 Life Planner. That's the digital life planner. And you can give it a try for the next 2.5 months that we have left for the year to see if you like digital planning, because I have really taken the leap over the past, I think, a year and a half now, maybe, to really going completely digital and really not having as much paper and having everything contained on my iPad. So 2019 Life Planner, and also getting the plot map activity, which I will show you first so you can see what it is, for free on my website. So go and grab that so that you guys can use it. And thank you for always joining me on these live chats. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go. So let's jump into the first one, and this is the activity that I said that I was going to give you guys for free. This is upside down, first and foremost. This is a plot map mountain. So I teach plot in 4th and 5th grade. So typically 4th grade is the introduction year. And then in 5th grade, we hope to solidify the understanding of being able to identify the elements of plot and really be able to take out some of that information from different texts that we're reading. So in order to help my students first understand what are all of the parts of plot, because they need to remember those parts of plot, they have one of these little laminated sheets. So I printed it on colored paper, laminated it, and then it comes with little cards. And so the way that I keep the cards is I take a little Ziploc bag, and while it's open, I staple it. Boop, boop, 2 staples, and that allows me to open it and then close it shut whenever I just want to store it away. But on the comments about the parts of plot, okay? So we have falling action, you have climax, has little words on it. And then it asks them, which one is this? So it says the part of the story where the problem and the character come head to head. So they know that, oh, that's going to be the climax. So on that little plot map, them and a partner or independently, if you wanted just to kind of get an idea, do they get what they're getting? Do they understand plot overall? They would just place it, and I'm trying to do this the opposite way. They would place it on top of that little square so that they could say, oh, this is where the climax is. And it's just a really easy way for me to check them. Now, here's where I take it a step further, because once we understand the parts of plot, they can identify the parts of a plot mountain. Then cards like this, that yes, fit the card, like the little square on that plot map mountain, and they will place this on that mountain. And I do these typically as a partner activity. So I'll set it out, the kids will sit down, they'll read it, they'll go through each of these, and they have to figure out where on the plot map mountain does this event happen. And so it gets them to be able to see it overall. It's that helping that gradual release. I can't expect my students to automatically go out and be able to find all of it inside of a text. So to help them, I give it to them, but they have to be able to put it in the right order. So it gets them thinking just a little bit more critically about the elements of plot and which one it's going to be. So this is the activity that you're going to be able to get for free right now. And it comes with these little cards. And I even think, it was something that I had, I even think it comes with the little story cards for the first story. So that's in there as well. And this story is pretty easy to find on the internet, to download it. So you can probably download the story on the internet once I tell you what it is, because you'll probably need to know that, right? Isn't that one fun? What do you guys think? Tell me what you think on that one. So that's kind of the first activity. Very simple, the kids really like it because it also encourages conversation. So you get the kids to sit down, you're also checking for their understanding, they're having a conversation. Well, good night. You'll have to watch that, you're tired. And go and grab this so that you can use it inside of your classrooms. Because it is a really nice way to help kids in starting to understand elements of plot. Because this is hard. That dog is just driving me nuts. He found wrapping paper, y'all. My dog. All right, he's got to go. Okay. Bye, Walter. The next activity that I want to share with you all is another piece. Right, Angela? It's the engagement piece of it. But then I think it's also really important that we're doing that gradual release. Like, plot is so unbelievably hard for kids to be able to understand. Like, they just don't get it. It's hard to identify those key events that are occurring inside of the story. And I think this is a really great way to start easing them into it. So using a story that you've already read with them, you're kind of talking about it, you're engaging in it, you already started having these conversations, then you get them to kind of go and start to identify where does it end up going. That, I think, is the biggest, it is a huge help for the kids, and it helps to solidify their understanding, which is what we want. And it's engagement. I love anything that's like a sorting activity because it's like your levels of thinking. So in the beginning, they're just kind of identifying the very basics, the vocabulary, and then being able to organize information. You're going into like the level 2 of the depth of knowledge, which is you take them slowly but surely, right? It's our signals. Okay, here is the next one. So in these little cards that you're getting inside of that already has the plot of a story written out on it, you're going to need to know what that story is. It's called The Mystery in the Backyard. Please tell me if you guys have heard of this story. Like, it is such a great story. And let me tell you what it's about. So it's about these two friends, all right? And they have this neighbor. The neighbor is Mr. Kaufman. And they think that Mr. Kaufman has murdered his mom. So they start kind of spying on him, digging in his trash, looking for clues, and they come to the conclusion that he has buried his mom in the backyard because he's buying a new computer, and they're thinking that he's basically taken her money, buying a new computer. He went on a cruise. Well, he was looking at a cruise brochure. So they think that he murdered his mom and buried her in the backyard. And I'm going to leave you at that point where they're digging in the backyard and Mr. Kaufman catches them. Yeah, I know. It's such a good story. It is fantastic. So it's called Mystery in the Backyard. It's by Tom Conklin, Conklin. It's so good. The kids love this story, but it's also a fantastic story for introducing plot and making sure that they understand those elements because they're all there. I love it. So that is the story. I would have them practice that with plot. But another one of my favorite activities is getting them to think about summarizing, which again is another really hard skill when you start going into the upper grades. Now, guys, if you're not working with upper grades, you can absolutely make this fit for lower grades as well. Okay, so if it wasn't a plot map, maybe I'm not doing a plot map, but maybe I'm looking at a first, next, then last. Okay, that would allow them to put the events in reading books. I would photocopy the pictures, like certain pictures in that little text, and then I would laminate them and cut the pictures out so then the kids used the pictures to retell the story. It was the easiest but the best way of getting them to retell it because they used those visuals. It was such a huge help. So maybe you're doing that. But for the summarizing, here's what I did, and then I'll kind of share how I would bring this down to some of the lower levels. Summarizing is huge and it is so difficult in the upper grades. But what I did is to get them started, to get them thinking critically about what it makes a good summary. I had these 3 little colored sheets. And all I did was I went onto Word and I wrote out 3 summaries. One was the ideal summary, the summary that I would expect as a teacher that I would want to see. And then 2 were 2 different summaries of different situations that I felt as though like kids would always make mistakes. For instance, they typically will always try to put in quotes. And I don't accept quotes in summaries. So I put quotes in one of them. And what the kids do is I give them again with partners because the whole purpose of this is engagement, it's collaboration, it's getting them discussing and thinking more critically about anything that I want them to think about, in this case, summaries. They would then have to determine, one, which is the ideal summary. They had to give me the qualities of why they believed that summary was ideal. But then to get them thinking even more critically, they had to look at the other two and think about what were the things that needed to get to be changed. Like, what can I change in this summary to help make it an ideal summary? That is so helpful for them, guys. So unbelievably helpful. They need that time to be able to look at summaries and understand, like, what is it that you're looking for? Getting them to rewrite summaries over and over is not enough. We need to give them opportunities to think critically about summaries that are already written, good and bad, and getting them into that revising. That's a level, I would say 3. It's a level 3 of the depth of knowledge, which is higher level thinking. All right. And you can do this every time. Now, here's how I would do it if I had the younger grades. I would have them do some sort of retelling. So, Leslie, you were already jumping ahead of me, girl. I would get them to do it with retelling. What is the right way to retell something? What are those transition words that you're looking for? What are all of those pieces that you need to have? And I would do the exact same thing and have them reading. Now, obviously, I might give them some bigger font, maybe bigger sheets of paper, bigger font, so that the kids could easily be able to. I feel like he needs to go. He's being super naughty. Walter's being naughty. Yep, bye, baby. He's not going out. But I think this is a great way for kids to be able to see the expectations that you have, but also think critically about how they can change ones that are not the best. All right, so that's the second activity. That's the second one. Here is the next one. And I'm actually going to, I'm going to do it. So I know that you guys have probably seen these, right? But one of my favorite things that I love to do is I love to, when we take stories, any type of a story that has lots of objects, lots of characters, lots of places, be able to place those on cards. So I have some different colors just so that I can not mix them up, because bless, it happens. We all know it does. And the kids will play heads up with this. And basically what they'll do is I take these cards and I will put all the objects that are inside of a story, the places that are inside of a story, the character names that are inside of the story, and the kids have to play heads up with it. So, trying to going through some of these. So this was taken from the story Edward something. Now I can't even remember the name of the story. Anyways, basically what they would do is the person that I'm playing with would have to tell me clues so that I can figure out what it is that's on my head. I'm sure you guys have played this game with the phone app, like it's my favorite. We play it every Christmas, literally. But this is a great activity. It's fun. The kids love it. Like, they enjoy doing it. However, I have noticed that they don't typically wear the headband. They will usually just do this. And they'll just keep going like this because they want to try to get as many cards as possible within that 2-minute span. But this is a great way to get them to do comprehension. I will tell you guys, when I first did this activity, we did it with a one school, one book. And that's where every kid in our school gets the exact same book. And we get to read that book together as a little community. And then the kids got to go to different rooms. So I planned this activity because I got a bunch of different kids from different classes so that we could talk about it. And you can absolutely identify the kids who don't read the book because they have no idea what any of this stuff is. But the kids, when they come in and they start playing the game, they start to learn about it because they pick up on what the other person is saying, the person who probably did read the book. They're picking up on all of that and they're remembering it. So it's a great way to get them just to see about comprehension and whether or not they're comprehending what it is that they're reading. So I love that game. This is so much fun and the kids enjoy it. And it's super easy to put together because you don't even need this. Like I said, kids don't even use it. They don't. But this is just something that you can use over and over. I didn't even laminate these guys and they have lasted me 4 years now. So they're in great condition and I use it every single year. So it's fantastic. So that's number 4. That's number 4. Holy moly, we're already getting through some of these. So the other activity that I have, now I am going to share that this is a catchbox. This is something that was given to me to try out inside of my classroom, and I flipping love it. I cannot even tell you guys how much I love it. So basically there's a microphone in here, and I'm sure you guys have seen different versions of this, but there's a microphone right in here, and the kids are able to throw it basically. So they throw it back and forth to each other, and you basically can take this, and it's like with a very powerful magnet, it will come out. I can turn it on here, and then it connects super fast. I throw it in, and I can throw it any way, and the kids are able to speak in it. They love this. This takes anything that I do to the next level for them, because they just like talking in it and hearing their voice sound amplified. I mean, who doesn't love that, right? But I will tell you, here's how I play or use this tool to help me with reading. Is I will have the kids come up with different questions. So again, getting them to think higher level about the text that we're reading. So whatever text that we're reading, I will say, hey, you guys need to come up with 5 questions. 5 questions that you would ask somebody about the text that we're reading, okay? They can be literal questions, or they can be inferential questions. So getting them to be able to see the differences between the two. Once they come up with those 5 questions, I will start the game, and I will say, who is the main character of the text? I will throw it to that person. They will answer it. Then that person will read one of their questions. They will say, you know, what is the setting that the story takes place in? So what is the setting? And they would throw it to another peer. And it would just continue going back and forth. But I'm not the one that's preparing the questions. They're preparing the questions. They have the answers. And so they're quizzing each other on what's happening in the story. It is such a great way to get them engaged, get them excited, and it gives them a purpose for coming up with those questions because they want to play the activity. And so it's a great tool. If you don't have this tool, you can absolutely use it with like one of those little microphones that I think they're like battery powered microphones. However, I will say that it's harder because you have to pass it versus throwing it, whereas this one you could just literally check it. Well, you don't want to teach them to do that, although I do sometimes. It's pretty funny. But they throw it, and it's a great way to get them engaged and excited. So that was another one that I did want to share with you guys. And by the way, I chose to put on mine, your choice matters. How perfect is that, right? Because it does. Your choice does matter. All right. So that's the next one. Roxanne, thank you so much. I am so happy that you're finding this valuable. These are supposed to be very simple activities. Like even if you don't, even if you don't go back and you create this like in a document, even if you don't want to do that, you can totally get index cards and just write it on index cards. It doesn't need to be fancy. The kids don't care about the font. They don't care about any of that. They just care about the engagement, the activity, the fun, to be able to like talking with friends and moving about. That's what they love. So you don't need to go super fancy like this. I mean, technically this isn't that fancy, but you don't have to because you can use index cards and it's super simple and very basic. All right, here is another activity that I like to do. Now this one is a little bit more complicated, so you guys have to listen. So this one's called Numbered Heads. Now, you want to play this in a small group, and it's recommended for you to do this in a group of 4. All right? Numbered Heads is the activity. You would do this in a group of 4. So you have 2 different types of cards. So I have like these longer cards, like this, and then I have these shorter cards. And these small ones have numbers on them. And each number has some sort of like a job, right? Like it's your job to do this. The other one has questions about the text. And now I also did get a little fancy with this one because I noticed that I was forgetting what they were for because I was making so many of them. This one says the missing grocery money. So that's another text. A lot of these are from anthologies that I have. So that's from this one. So you have questions and then you have 4 cards, each numbered, and I'm going to tell you what their jobs are, okay? Each kid would get one of these 4 cards, so they need to understand what their job is. So, for instance, number 1 will read the question. So whoever's number 1 reads the question. Whoever is number 2 will give a short answer to the question supported with evidence. Woo! Going way further now. Supported with evidence. Now, if you wanted to do a group of 5, you can give the short answer, and then maybe the other person would give the evidence. All right? So short answer with evidence. The person who is number 3 states, I agree because, or I disagree because. All right, that's the 3rd person. And the 4th person would summarize the question, answer, and evidence. They better be paying attention, because if not, they're not going to be able to do that right. All right, so I'm going to say those one more time so that you guys can get it. I hope you have a pencil and paper writing these down, right? Because they're good. Number 1, read the question. So whoever is number 1 will read the question. If you are number 2, you are going to give a short answer to the question supported with evidence. All right? Number 3 will states, I agree because, or I disagree because. And number 4, the hardest, will summarize the question, the answer, and the evidence. All right? So each person will have their job in that group. And then you give them the cards. So for instance, in this little short story, I gave them 6 cards. They had 6 questions. That was it. So that person number 1 will choose the card. They have them face down. They'll choose the top card. They will read the card. The person number 2 will answer it, give their evidence. 3 will either state that they agree or disagree and give why. And the last person will summarize all of that. Now, before they go to the second card, they have to switch. All right? They don't get to stay. Number 1 doesn't get to be that lucky all the time, y'all. That's not fair. They have to put in some work too. And just reading isn't always enough. So they're going to have to switch jobs. So they pass it either clockwise, counterclockwise, however you want to do it. They pass it, and then that new person who is number 1 will read the question. The next person will go on and on and on. And they keep passing it and rotating it until all of the questions have been answered. Again, it's a very simple activity, but it gets them thinking. They're engaged, they're excited, they're digging deeper, they're hearing different perspectives. They're having to use so many different skills here, so many different skills. And the kids absolutely love it. They love it. They love it. All right. So that is the next one, the school story. Thank you. I love this game too. I think it is such a great one. And so many of these guys, whenever you pick out a story, let's say you pick your anthology. This, you can choose whichever one. You can rotate them. And then just one for every story that you end up using, just to help to kind of create some of that engagement inside of your classroom. Because reading is hard to engage. Like, it is a hard subject to get them excited about. And this allows you to do that. I think math has it so much easier sometimes because they have right, wrong answer. There's not a ton of writing involved. Kids love it. It's hands-on. It's fantastic. Reading, not so much. But these are some really great ways for us to get our kids excited about it. All right. Here is the next one. Now, I don't have these cut out because I honestly, I couldn't find where my cards were. Oh, I know where they are now. It's always so funny how sometimes you just remember at the very last minute. But I will tell you this. If you go, what is that website called now? Where is that website called where you have now I can't remember it. I had it in my head. Where you basically have vocabulary words and you can quiz yourself. Quizlet, right? Isn't that it? I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm right. I think it is Quizlet. Isn't that it? So here's what you do. you can go to that website and you can look up vocabulary words for reading, or you can make your own, however you want to do it. But this is nice because it has all of the different plots, but I want them and I want to hold them accountable for the language that I'm using in class. So if I'm using the word schema, falling action, rising action, climax, protagonist, antagonist, static character, dynamic character, if I want them to use any of those vocabulary words, it's important. Thank you guys. You are all the best. I couldn't think about it. I've been so excited about sharing all of this that I totally forgot. But if you want to get them to utilize those terms effectively, you need to give them the opportunity to use cards like this. So the first is that I would just have these printed out, and then I would have them obviously cut and folded and all that good jazz. They would be nicer than what they are on this piece of paper. But again, it's all terms of words that I would use in my reading. And I would have them sitting out on their tables as they are coming to me for small group. All right, this is a great thing for you to do along with something like this to give them practice, but also to give yourself time to get your things situated for small group as you're transitioning. Okay, so if you're doing some sort of, and you got to get kids coming in and getting practice immediately, this is a great thing to do. Have these sitting out on the tables, and then what they do is you'll automatically teach kids to pair up. And so they'll pair up and they have to start quizzing each other on the terms that they're using. So they would just go back and forth and they would just quiz each other on those terms, and that would get them using that terminology, practicing it there, but also giving yourself some time to get all your life together so that you can get started with your small group. But it gets them busy right away so that they're not sitting there and they're not getting too chatty. The second way that I use this is the infamous quiz trade. Now, this is a huge one that I see so many people using in schools. And this one is basically where you make enough for your entire class. And I love this because when I do this with my entire class, like it really is a really fun activity. I will usually put on Taylor Swift because she's my favorite. Let's just be real. So I will give the kids cards. And the idea is that they have to, when the music stops, pair up with someone and they will quiz each other. So they will say either one side or the other. They might say takes place within the mind of the character. So that would be internal conflict. Now, if the other student doesn't know that, you would say, no worries, good job, it's internal conflict. And then they would then quiz them on their word. When they're done, they would trade cards. So you would get a brand new card. Music comes back on, you start walking around, music stops, you pair up with someone new. By the way, when you have this, I literally just take my phone and I just hold it up and it amplifies, and the kids get really into it. They'll start dancing and moving to the beat. It's so funny, but they love it. But once the music stops, they'll find someone new. They will quiz, they will trade cards, and you keep doing it until basically it becomes mass chaos in your classroom and kids are super distracted. So just keeping it real here because it does happen. But yeah, so that is the last way that I use the activity. Now, these are only some of the activities. I felt like if I went on and I shared with you all of the different things that I use in reading, that one, you would probably get bored of hearing me talk. And two, I might not be able to talk through it all because I would end up losing my voice. But tell me what you think. I want to kind of hear your thoughts on it. What are some activities that maybe you are using inside of your classroom for reading that you could possibly share out and be able to kind of give to the group so that we could all share some of these ideas? They're super simple, right? Super simple, very basic, very easy to implement into your own classrooms. I'm going to take a water break. All right. I was losing a little bit of my voice there. It's getting kind of tired. So you guys are loving the games. I love that. I love that you're so excited about that. And I think what's so important with this, guys, is that we need to really be mindful of some of the activities that we're doing. So I would say maybe about like 2 years ago, I would say it was during the 2017-2018 school year, I did a lesson for my school, my reading teachers, and we talked about twirl. And I even mentioned it in one of my videos. Hi, hello from Vietnam. Very nice. I'm so glad that you enjoy it. But I did a whole video or a whole lesson talking about twirl and the importance of really making sure that we're integrating talking, writing, that we're getting them to to kind of share some of those ideas, that we're getting them to listen to other ideas, like all of these different components that go and take place in twirl. We got to give them opportunities to be able to do that. So, let's see. Oh my goodness, it's 1:08 in the morning. How are you still awake? I am so impressed with you. You are amazing. I cannot even believe it. You should definitely go to sleep because you're going to be exhausted tomorrow. Do you teach? I would be so tired. You are super brave. I don't think I could do it. Let's see. I'm using reading trios for practicing summarizing and asking questions. I'm curious, what do you mean by reading trios? One, read the question, think about it. That sounds very interesting. I'm incredibly intrigued. I would love to hear more about that. That sounds really cool. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you were able to get a little bit of information out of it. I'm not going to lie, I have grading out of the wazoo, so I'm not going to be staying on as long tonight, but I hope I was able to give you guys some really good information, ideas that you can easily take back into your classroom. And I have to go to bed by 9 o'clock, or else I'm completely worthless and I'm extremely cranky the next day. So I don't want to do that to my students. I don't want to do that to my husband and my kids either. So I want to be in a good mood. But what I will do not forget, you only have a couple more minutes while we are on this live chat. Make sure that you head on over to the Lettered Classroom. Go grab the 2019 Life Planner, and also make sure you're getting this plot activity, okay? So you have this plot activity that you can get absolutely free using that code right there, okay? Use that code and go and get it free. See, Turtle says, wait, keep the chat open, please. What do you have to tell me? Stephanie, you love the Life Planner. You're using the digital Life Planner? I love it. I do everything on my iPad now. Everything. To the point now where I am modeling anything for the kids, all my math is done through Explain Everything, which is a whiteboard app. It's super cool. I use GoodNotes for writing my stories and modeling writing my stories out for my kids so that I have it all in one place, because let's be honest, I end up losing things and it just becomes a hot mess for me. So it's been such a game changer for me to be able to have it all in one spot. So, all right. I am so happy that you guys enjoyed these activities. I would love to hear if you're going to implement them. Let me know if you do implement them. Take a picture, tag me on Instagram so that I can see what you're doing inside of your classrooms. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to go get some of my grading done now, and I will see you all next week, where I'm going to go ahead and tell you what we're doing. Where we are going to look into how I structure my reading workshop, okay? So I think what we're going to do is talk about reading workshop first, and then the next one after that, let's dig a little bit deeper and look at small group and how I plan out my small group. So the first one means that we're looking at the entire class period of how I structure it, and then the one after that, we'll look specifically into how I plan out that small group. Ooh, a PBL lesson. I will definitely work on getting into some of those because we do have a very fun PBL working this year. Okay. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, thanks for coming, hanging out, chatting with me. I loved it. It was nice. I was excited to be able to share these activities with you guys. They're some of my favorites. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Don't forget, do this now before I get off. Give this video a thumbs up for me. Go ahead. I'm going to wait. You're going to give that video a thumbs up for me. Also, if you are chiming in, you're like, who is this person? My name is Bridget Spackman. I am the creator behind The Lettered Classroom. I am also a multi-age teacher, a 4th, 5th, and 6th grade teacher in central Pennsylvania. And I talk a lot about literacy because it's one of my bigger loves. I talk about being able to personalize the learning experience with your kids. I love productivity, even though sometimes I don't think I'm the best at it, but I do love it. So I throw that in every once in a while. So yeah, okay. That's who I am. Now you're going to subscribe. You're going to hit that bell for notifications every time I upload a video, and also go live. And don't forget, give that video a thumbs up. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all next time. Bye.